Hello and welcome. In this video I will make quite a few stupid things. I have a few not bright ideas and I will fail quite a few times. However, I will learn quite a bit. And in the meantime I might swear once or twice. Anyway, let's start. So, a couple of years ago I had an amazing idea to learn how to steam bend wood, and I thought, how hard can it be? Later on I thought I will use all my scrap wood and I will make for my partner a couple of little shelves so that they will complement part of the wall between our kitchen and the living room. Hence I milled all the scrap wood, and I never did it in the past, so I thought I would just try Iroko, mahogany and English plain. Unfortunately, most of the wood that I had was kiln dry, which is not the best one. Oh, by the way, this is the first bad idea. Try to run through the planer quite a few pieces at the same time. Bad idea. And they were too short. Maybe if they would be longer, that's a different story. Anyway, let's start with the building of the steam box. Because the shelves were not too long, I thought I don't need a huge box, and for this part of the project I used all my scrap wood as well all the scrap plywood. And plywood was really good, did the trick. However, one end and one long face I made out of the scrap piece that I had from like a melamine chipboard, which over a couple of uses started to delaminate and was a poor choice. To make the steam box, I think I spent around 8 quid on a couple of hinges and the latch to secure the front flap. Besides this, I didn't spend any money on making it. It was middle of the summer in UK and I didn't need an additional insulation. The wallpaper steamer was quite powerful, and I was not worried that the box will get cooled down, hence I didn't bother with any insulation. That is the second stupid idea. You can see that the table saw is wobbling, and then I thought, let's just trim the front end of the box. I'm sure I could find a slightly safer solution to solve this puzzle. So I'm not going to repeat it again. Anyway, moving on. Once the box was assembled, I had to use the router with the flush trim just to make the edges nicer, and that was, let's say, a quick once over all 4 edges of the box. I did drill one hole at the bottom just to drain the excess of water, which was fine. However, the whole box was not that sealed, and in between the gaps of the ply, steam was able to escape just to release any pressure. However, it was not, let's say, losing the steam that badly that it would just cool down and was unable to heat up the box. The usual guidance is, let's say, an hour for an inch of the thickness of the material, and usually I kept twice the duration just to be on the safe side, especially when I failed so many times. So that is my first go at building the form. The whole idea was just to have a short shelf with 2 carved up ends just to create a nice feature. So I'm now using my bandsaw just to rough shape the edges. Again, for the whole project I'm using just the scrap wood that I had lying around in the shed. And yeah, it was maybe a little bit more time consuming just to create the form, but it was absolutely fine. I have to admit that I do like my belt sander. It's doing the trick and it's just easy to use. The only downside is that it just creates quite a lot of dust, so when I'm working on it a little bit longer, I usually take it out of the shed. And to be more efficient, I thought at the same time I will be bending 2 shelves, so one shorter on the shorter one and the longer one on the other end. And this is the final preparation of the steam box, just to seal the flap and just make a cutout for the large. So this is sorted, and it's time to rock and roll with the first steaming. But before we get there, I need to attach the steam maker or the wallpaper streamer, and that was a bit of a faff. Originally I wanted to buy a bigger one with bigger water capacity so that I will not have to top it up so frequently. I got one which was nearly 5 liters in capacity. However, the thread was not the usual one, and I couldn't buy any adapters to make it work. And then I thought, screw it, I'll just buy a different unit on eBay or Facebook Marketplace. And I bought a second-hand one. Actually, it was a new Black & Decker model, which was really powerful, but it was just slightly smaller capacity, just 4 liters. Because the whole wood that I had was kiln dry, to make it more pliable, I used the softener just to saturate it, and hopefully it will just improve my odds of steam bending. So you can see the water dribbling out of the steam box, and the boards are ready to go. So that is my first go, and I thought I would be able to bend 2 pieces of wood at the same time. How hard can it be? Initially I thought I would be able to use a nice white strap with ratchet, and in theory it should work. Very quickly I realized that I was wrong, so I had to run to the garage to grab a second one, and in a bit of a panic, because of course the wood starts to cool down, I attached the other strap and was faffing around with it. And that's the first piece of wood that I managed to snap, bend, and I wasn't happy bunny about it. Anyway, I'm still playing with the ratchets. In the process I managed to damage one of the levers. At some point I just realized that I'm not able to flex it, so I used the clamps as well, but you can see that both pieces effectively, that's the long one, snapped, and I wasn't happy at all. So in a second you will see how badly twisted and damaged the pieces are. So that's go number 1, which went shit. Okay, let it cool down and let's see how it goes next time. Lessons learned. So on this occasion I used a piece of Iroko and oak, and both of them nicely failed. So this one is twisted, cracked both ends, and additionally I managed to not only twist it but dent it from the other side when I tried to use clamps to squeeze it even more. So quite a few good lessons out of this exercise. However, it was quite stiff, so that was, let's say, encouraging point. And this is a shorter shelf that snapped and failed big time. So fail number 1 and number 2. From this lesson I learned that the straps will not work, hence I thought let's move to plan B, and I bought this nice stainless steel plate. I think it was 1.1 millimeter thick, and I thought this will aid with the bending process, will apply better pressure to the tension phase of the timber, and because of this it will just improve the whole process. Oh, by the way, that's another fail. If you leave timber with the softener for a couple of days in fresh water, it doesn't end up well, so I wasn't happy about this either. Anyway, time to drill a couple of holes in the plate so that I can attach a couple of pulleys, blocks, and hopefully this will allow me to run a rope and simply apply more tension, more pressure, so that I can flex the timber in an easier way. Couple of holes, couple of threaded inserts, and couple of bolts attached to the jig so that I can attach the rope, and hopefully it will keep it in place and it will make my life easier during the bending process. I can tell you that it didn't work well. So that is the concept. So I can again flex 2 shelves, 2 pieces of timber at the same time. Even the dog got bored at this point. I know it's middle of summer in UK, so we're hitting heavy 18-19 degrees. I'm joking, maybe it was 21. Anyway, time to steam up another batch. Because the container was quite small, I had to top it up, and usually it was okay to leave it for around 20-25 minutes, and normally I had to top it up twice in the process. On that occasion you can see that I tried to flex 16mm piece of Iroko, and I thought, okay, let's try just one piece at the time, and you can see that the thin plate flexed nicely. However, I'm just running around like headless chick, and I simply don't have enough power to flex it. I thought that with 8 pulleys I will have enough force and power in my hands to be able to flex it. Unfortunately, I did not, so a bit of frustration here. Hence, time to move on to plan C. And now I'm building another jig, and this time it will be male-female arrangement with loads of clamps. And as another lesson learned from this, I increased the radius, so I used this nice white bucket just to mark up the curve, and I thought this is, let's say, probably a better idea, so that I can apply multiple clamps, and it will just make the clamping and flexing process a little bit easier. The bandsaw blade was so dull that later on I decided to upgrade it, and that was the good call. I do like, again, the belt sander. It's just so easy to use. Ideally I would like something slightly bigger, but this one does the trick. And that is the first go with male-female clamps. Later on I realized that it's better to have a couple of clamps underneath, a couple of clamps on top, and that was the first go. And as you can see, it was another fail. So this was an English plane, and it just snapped in both directions, at both ends, and was not happy. It was quite thick, again, around 16 millimeters, and probably the radius was not great in terms of the radius versus the thickness of the board. Another change that I have made was to buy a fresh green cut ash, and you can see the moisture content around 20% I have to highly recommend Seb from Treetops and Train Tracks in Wales. They have an amazing campsite in Wales. If you would like, guys, just to go and spend a couple of days in Wales, I would highly recommend the spot. That is the link at the bottom of the page. The guys are having a really new and nice setup, and I would just recommend as a camping place to venture in Wales. Anyway, I bought from Seb a couple of boards, so I had to cut them, plane them, and make them slightly thinner than the original batch. So I started going down with the thickness, so that hopefully the ratio of the bent radius versus the thickness of the board will be slightly better, and it will allow me to flex the wood easier. I have to say that I do like the small workshop setup with fairly light machines that I can just move them around. Yes, of course, I would like slightly bigger space with a bigger tools, but overall I'm quite happy with it. And again, the belt sander is really good. It's just so easy to use it. But on this occasion I just moved it part outside so that most of the dust can escape. Anyway, so you can see on the left hand side quite a few fails. That was the first one that I tried to use ash, and it just snapped. Really frustrating. So I went back to the drawing board and I just dropped the thickness again. So now I think I'm aiming for around 8-9 millimeters, and hopefully this will allow me to flex it easier without much of the failure. So you can see how the first one relaxed and how much it lost of the curve. I don't mind, I don't care about it that much. It doesn't have to be so tight, because for my application it just doesn't matter. So this is the second one that I'm flexing, and I'm really happy because it almost worked both ends. Unfortunately, one side cracked. I think it is just to the orientation of the grain. I try to pick something that will be with a nice grain alignment, but it's not always easy. I got so excited, and on that occasion you can see that I placed the metal strip on the wrong side of the flexing timber, and as you can expect, it will crack, but I'm happily carrying on, completely oblivious to the fact that I did it the wrong way around. And now you can see on the left hand side the first crack, so I'm already not happy. Yep, I agree, that's not a good one. So I thought, what will happen if I will try to flex two shorter boards at the same time? How hard can this be? And within a few seconds I realized that they just slide too much, and it's just not practical. So I took one out and just left one only. But it's quite funny, you can see how many clamps I'm using at the same time just to apply the pressure nicely. And I don't know how it works, but sometimes the piece of timber slides one out of the another, so I have to gently tap it in back into the place. But this one flexed okay, and I'm very happy. So I have a tiny short oak board. Another go, and this time the metal strip is on the correct side, and I think we will have a success. Yes, we do. So I'm quite happy. I think it was go number 8, 10, I just lost the count, but we are now in about 9 mil thickness of fresh ash, and it's working fine. So being an engineer, I thought, let's speed it up, because I could do just one at a time, and I thought, let's choke 2 thinner boards at the same time, because I just made the jig male female so that it could accommodate slightly bigger thickness. And yes, you can flex 2 thinner boards at the same time. Sometimes you might get tiny scratches when one board is rubbing the other one, but nothing that the sander cannot deal with. So I'm quite happy. First good boards that are nicely flexed, so happy days. After a few goes, the steam box started to disintegrate, so you can see the top left corner that the melamine boards just started to split, so I had to use the gaffer tape to secure it back in place. In the meantime, I thought, let's go back and try to flex slightly thicker piece, since I had a few good runs on thinner ones. And I'm not sure if this was this particular board, but again, it cracked, so I'm not happy. But at that stage, I just thought enough is enough. I just needed a handful of shelves or flexed pieces so I can start sanding process and just make my partner happy, and have a couple of little shelves for the flower pots. So now you can see the thicker piece that snapped on one end, and it's quite interesting. I can't remember when is the last time that I thought, it would be nice for a change to go back and sand something. Normally it's not a favorite part of the process, but on that occasion, after so many times that I failed and spent time feeding the steamer with fresh water, it was quite refreshing just to sand off the edges. But most of the parts of the board were nicely sanded with the belt sander, so it's just to cater for the tiny imperfections. And you can see on the right hand side how the thick board just delaminated and snapped. Again, not sure what was the reason behind it, could be just the grain orientation. And I had quite a few boards that failed on one side, so I thought, don't throw them away, let's make a set of shelves that will be with a single curve for the change. Then carefully I marked up all the holes so I can drill holes for the rope so I can hang them later on. It was quite interesting just to mark up on a curved pieces just to set them off nicely so that it will just look properly in line with one with the other. And I used a piece of scrap wood so that I will not blow the bottom bit of the board, especially when it is so thin. And luckily, success. And time for the final sanding before oiling. So I use my oscillating sander. Yes, maybe I will one day spend some money and buy orbital sander, but at this stage it did the trick. I decided that 120 grit will be sufficient, so I gave all the boards a final once over, and it was more than sufficient, especially for the application, so I didn't bother going with higher grit on this occasion. Then I used white spirit just to wipe off any excess dust so that the oil can penetrate nicer. This one just evaporates so quickly, so by the time I finish with all of them, they were effectively dry and ready for application. And I'm using Osmo oil on that occasion. I found it slightly more durable, especially when I'm sure there will be some spilled water standing for a little bit longer. And in the top part of the screen you can still see the steam going out of the steam box, and you can see the top bit just disintegrates even more. And it is time to apply the second coat so that hopefully it will be more durable in the long run. If you have any questions, comments, I would really like if you could drop them in the comment box. At the minute I'm on, I think, 92 subscribers, so if you could hit the subscribe button, that would be absolutely amazing. If you enjoyed it, happy days. If you learned something, if you laughed a little bit, even better. Now I'm just attaching the hem ropes, and this is a little bit fiddly just to ensure that they will be all aligned and level. Anyway, I made a decision to move the clock slightly off center to give more space for the shelves. Hopefully my line manager will approve it down the line, but anyway, I carry it on. And on the left hand side you can see a few failed pieces of timber, and that is the final product. So half bent shelves, they look quite neat. If you would like to buy them, they are available. You can check them on wtcd.co.uk, wildtakecreativedesign.co.uk. Thank you for watching and see you soon. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Bye.